what you're saying in simple terms is that the fact that the markets are surging does not necessarily have any bearing on what is happening in the real economy. This could also just be a function of, as you put it, a lot of cash with nowhere to go. It doesn't necessarily mean that more jobs are being created or there's more investment. It's just, where do you park the cash?
It's not uncorrelated. It's not uncorrelated, but it's not the whole story. In other words, certainly markets in India are taking heart from the growing mobility, the fact that caseloads are coming down steadily, debts are falling, and there is a rebound underway. The question is, do we know the true level of the scarring? For example, RBI recently came out with a report which said NPAs, which are down to, gross NPAs down to 7.5% in September from 8.5% in March. And this is telling you there's something weird going on.
Right.
If NPAs fall while you have one of the worst quarters in Indian history, in fact, the worst quarter. And that's saying that there's a lot that is being masked. RBI says these NPAs are going to go up in certain scenarios to 13.5%. Now, that's a large number. And so the question is, are we being prepared for that? Or are we letting the stock market and the euphoria sort of mask that? And I would say, by all means, use the stock market euphoria to raise your bank equity, to raise capital for the government by privatization. Take advantage of the moment. Don't say this is all illusion. Yes, Maya hai. You just go out and raise money.
Right.
But I would also say, be careful that going forward, things are going to be less rosy after the pent-up demand, after the the rich have expressed themselves. You need to worry about the longer-term scarring and how to deal with that. And that is 21, 22, later parts when it starts hitting us.
I wonder if Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, the billionaire stock market investor, is watching and what he makes of this. Because I don't know if you saw what he said about you in a recent, he was on an interview, a show, and he said that Raghuram Rajan only sees darkness when he looks at India in the last 5 years. He doesn't see any light, he only sees darkness.
Well, look, Rakesh, whenever I've met him, has been a very interesting sort of person to talk to. I think it's important to be bullish about India long term, but to not hide your, hide from the things that are going wrong. Anybody looking at the path of our GDP, just look at overall GDP since 2016. And you have to worry that something is not going right. If you talk to international investors, India was always talked about in the 2007-8 period when we were doing really well. It was Chindia, China and India. Today, very few people talk about India other than in geostrategic terms as an alternative because we're so big to China. We need to rebuild that euphoria about India, and not through, Federal Reserve pumping money into India, but because people come for longer term investment. There's some of that, as I said, coming in. We need far more of that. For that, we need to build an India. Our youth are second to none. We have the, really, I mean, I'm working with Kriya University. The students there are fantastic. And so what we need to do is give them an opportunity to do really well in this world. And so what we need to think about again and again is what is holding us back, and being uncritical of the government, clapping every time it does whatever it does, I think is actually not helping it. Because in an echo chamber, the government then doesn't do what is necessary to do to put India back on the right track.